And we're live! Welcome to a special edition of Open Source Block Explorers Now. This is the 13th episode, and I always give this little intro that, hey, we love Etherscan. Etherscan is great. They're an amazing part of our community, but it's a golden cage. We are in a situation where we actually have a huge point of centralization in the Ethereum and Ethereum virtual machine space, where Etherscan gets to choose who gets to have a good explorer, a block explorer, or not. And so this bi-weekly call, every 2 weeks we have this call, to kind of push forward the community on getting open source block explorers out there so that anyone can use this technology without that point of centralization. Just think if Ethereum Classic had Etherscan. It would be a game changer. It would be an interesting situation, and it would be an equal playing field. But anyway, we have two awesome guests with me right now that came to Burning Man with me this year. And so this call will be a little bit about block explorers, but probably mostly about Burning Man. So hopefully that's interesting to you guys. Let's just do a quick intro. So I'll model it. It's just name, who you work for, and any intentions for the call. So obviously, I'm Griff Green. I work with Giveth, DAppNode, Occam's, and a bunch of other projects that I am always trying to push forward. And I don't have any intentions for this call other than to give Tomas a platform to explain what he's working on. Tomas?
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So I've been in the blockchain sphere for around 6 years, so I'm kind of the old guy here. And my last project, most recent one, was trivial.co, where we're kind of a small block explorer and also a token explorer. And I'm right now considering, we'll see how far it goes, launching an open source, an open platform where you can have all the blockchain metadata that is right now. Again, I love Etherscan just like you, Griff, but like it has logged data on it, like metadata about token addresses, being Twitter addresses, websites, and whatnot. So considering launching a platform that will have it all in the open for everyone to download and use in their own projects. So my intention here for the call is to just gather some feedback, if not from you guys, then from the community, and get the word around. And also I'm right now on ETH Berlin, so we'll be hacking some things here, and we'll see where it goes. So yeah, that's me.
Very cool. And Polina, you want to give an intro to yourself? Oh, I don't know if she was ready for that.
I'm here. I wasn't ready. I totally wasn't ready, but okay, I can give an intro. I actually developed a small explorer for my company a while ago, probably a year, dedicated to the tokens that we issue mostly, because it has like a historical functionality, which is hard to notice on the Etherscan. So yeah, I'm working as a product manager currently in AmbiSafe company, and we are working on cool decentralized exchange. Probably may have a small word on blockchain explorers maybe later, just as a commentary mostly, but yeah, I'm here to listen.
Nice. Okay, cool. So yeah, the only thing we have on our agenda, because POA couldn't make it today, is Tomas's open blockchain metadata. So do you want to give us an overview of how that works, Tomas, and more insight?
Yeah, okay. So, sure. So the idea is quite fresh, and I'm still figuring out if we'll go through with it. But like working at Trivial, what happened was we wanted to build a category that projects want to do that. Like you have, I don't know, all the source code, all the addresses of all the tokens and many contracts, and you want to figure out which contract has which website, for example, or what's the description of each given token. And right now of that, so I know that I think, what was it, has a small database on GitHub of all the info. Of course, Etherscan is like the main leader there, where like everyone that launches their own token adds their information about the website and whatnot. And you can access it easily through the APIs. But the problem is that if you want to launch your own service that is kind of competing with Etherscan, or not even competing, but just another website that for whatever reason needs this data in bulk, Well, you can scrape them, but it's not polite, and you can use the data from my MyEtherWallet, but it's not that much complete. Like it's very incomplete, and it would be nice to be just able to download it and see this data. And another kinds of data that are there that are still kind of locked in are, of course, contract source codes. So this is another thing that we bumped into when we were building our own token explorer or Ether Explorer, that we wanted to have, I don't know, information about the function calls or just generic information about the source codes of contracts. And right now, again, Etherscan is the only data source there. They have an API, like some of the stuff is on Swarm, but if you want to just download it in bulk, either to just create your own copy of Etherscan, or I don't know, you want to do some research and analyze the source codes, find some critical vulnerabilities, test your own whatever on the codes, like you cannot do that in a polite fashion. So you have to scrape them, and that's not very nice. So I'm just wondering, I'm still researching where like perhaps I'm missing something, perhaps I didn't find some source of data. So I guess one of the question is to you, but also like to anyone that is listening, is like where can we find this data? Like, are there any databases that I missed so far? Like, I don't know, Griff, if you wanted to start your own token catalog, like where would you get the data from?
Well, I mean, I would go for my big old list of tokens from my crypto. That's like the best source, I think, of tokens.
Yeah.
But then also, have you looked at POA Networks Explorer at all?
Not yet.
I think that they are also, that's like a piece of their project. So I would think that, contributing to them would probably be the best source of action. Also, there's another open source block explorer that's not as far along called EthVM. And there's Web3 Scan. And well, I just got you into the group, the community that we have. So all of those projects obviously need this, right? And the community absolutely needs it. The fact that source code that you upload to Etherscan is basically owned by Etherscan is kind of interesting, right? You can scrape it; it's there, so it is publicly available. But I don't know.
Yeah, like legally speaking, like the source code may be a property of the source code creator, and you could say that the license usually allows you to use that. But then Etherscan's license for the whole database, that's another thing, and like they do not allow you. At least, like I didn't talk to them yet, but I would say like the license is not there, so I assume that they are not happy with someone just grabbing the whole database in bulk. And yeah, thanks for joining me to the Telegram group, because I browsed through all the and I checked some other explorers, and they still I couldn't find have like token metadata, meaning Twitter handles, websites, and whatnot. But like I have to check the POA, and yeah, like
I honestly,
it's better to join someone if someone's on it. So yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Etherscan and my crypto collaborate on the same database for all the information of like who's to contact in case of the tokens having a problem and all that. They and it's really easy to add stuff too. It's just a pull request, and they go through every couple of days and add these tokens and verify. Because my crypto, of course, does a lot of extra support in general for the community. So if someone has a token and they give them some contact information, if all of a sudden they are alerted of some issues, they can reach out. So there's a lot of information there, not just about the token, but contact information, who's organizing the token, and all that. It's all there. You've seen that list though, right?
I've seen the list just very briefly before the call, so I need to double check the list. And like I said, like it was a very rough idea, and we spent the whole week on the Burning Man before, so I didn't have time to research that. I also spoke to people from my previous project, that's Trivial, and they have like a list of 600 to 1,000 tokens that were manually curated. So they just went, instead of scraping, they just went token by token, researched all the websites. So they're willing to share the list. So perhaps we can just, throw in the list from Trivial to these guys, to my crypto, and just make one big list as a good seed for more people, and that would be nice. Okay, so I guess that extinguishes the first subject, unless Paulina has something to add here, like any thoughts?
No, probably not.
Well, I'm glad that you're on top of it, Tomas. Like that's pretty cool. And we're super happy to have you join the Telegram group and hanging out so we can all work on this together. As you said, the next topic's way more interesting. The burn. How was Burning Man for you guys?
Experience. For me, that was the 5th one. For which one was it for you, Griff? Like, was it the second at least or third? 8th. 8th burn.
Yeah.
Paulina?
That was my first one. It was so cool. Just like probably the best experience ever. I would totally go next year.
Nice. Yeah.
What about Wojtek?
Hey guys, first burn here as well. Very interesting experience. It definitely is something you should try out, and I'll definitely return at some point.
What is your guys' favorite part about Burning Man? Like, what's? I'll start with mine. My favorite thing is the culture of giving and the economic experiment that happens. There's like this thing that happens where there's no money for the week, and when there's no money, it's like no money, no problems. Everyone is so happy, dancing around, complimenting each other, and it's such a weird way to do an economic experiment where you change the story of money, where it's like this indirect exchange is still happening, but there's no expectations of like someone giving you a quid pro quo, right? If you go and get French toast from somebody, you might give them some chocolate, but there was no expectation of you giving chocolate. And of course, there is like a small expectation that they might come to your place and get some, in our case, listen to some talks on decentralization. But who knows? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. And this whole like economic experiment where you have people providing services with no expectation of something in return, other than the expectation that other people will also provide services, is really interesting. And I hope can be really influential on like the crypto space, inspiring. What about you guys?
Yeah, so
yeah,
I was talking to someone about sustainability of this model, because obviously it works because everyone has a job outside of the Burning Man, right? And like for the week, and for the people that are listening and that haven't been to the burn, the idea is that you have a gift economy and you're not allowed to charge, you're not allowed to do barter, you just give away stuff, and the whole city is full of people giving away stuff, right? And I was talking to someone about the sustainability of this model, and what came up was the idea of, you had hippie communes in 1970s where people tried to live in these communities that also didn't have money, and it was kind of a very similar experience, and we were wondering what happened to them, right? So like some of them, obviously most of them, and we were talking about how some of them perhaps survived. So now getting back to the talking about Burning Man, what happens at the Burning Man? If you want something, Burning Man delivers. So 2 days later, I'm just wandering the playa at 2 a.m. looking for some place to just rest to get some rest, and I bump into this camp and bar that serves hot tea, right? So they serve hot tea, and I start talking to them, and it turns out the whole camp is organized by people who live in a hippie commune, like second generation or even third generation of people living there, and that was quite nice. Like people living at least within the commune without money, and it kind of works. So I would wonder, I would just look deeper into that subject and just ask people how they managed to make these sustainable communes that lasted for 30 years or 40 years, and then wonder if you can do that in a decentralized global scale and whatnot. So like, yeah, I would say that. What about you guys? No one wants to talk. I can talk for hours. I think
Here, I'll call on people. How about Paulina? What was your favorite part of Burning Man, or most interesting thing?
Okay, just like that. Well, probably the most interesting part was at night, because you can just go around and see people all wearing like light stuff, outfits, or maybe like tons of bikes around some areas, like stages or an art piece. So just follow the bikes, and then you get like a lot of bikes. Then okay, that's something interesting. One of the funniest part was when Andre comes to me and asks like, Paulina, why is there 2 moons? Which one is real? And you're like, oh my god, there's actually 2 moons. Yeah, and like in a couple days after that, I was going through the deep playa, and something was burning, and the moon was like watching it. And after it all burned out, it was like we're like, okay, it's fine, and just started to head away somewhere. And then like all over the playa, you can just watch the moon and understand that something interesting is going on there because the moon is watching it.
Yeah, someone was like, "Oh my God, it's the fake moon," but it was the real moon.
Yeah.
How
I
about
heard some people were discussing for a long time this fake moon, and also there was a Reddit thread about how like amazing it is that there was 747, but okay, people remember it, but the fake moon everyone remembers. It wasn't like this biggest thing. It was just the most fun, and there was a nice artist from India that created that. There is a whole article about it.
the moon or the 747?
About the moon, about the moon. About 747, of course, there are articles, but about the moon, you can find the article. And it was a woman from India that is an artist that made that whole thing happen. And it was like a very nice artist, and you can read more about it.
I mean, the most amazing thing about the moon is it was just like a tricycle, right? Carrying the moon around. But anyway, how about you, Wojtek?
Yeah.
Well, what was your favorite part, Wojtek, or most interesting?
I definitely found interesting the gifting, you know, the whole gifting idea and the lack of money. I don't have the same experiences as you. I kind of still feel like there is still some background intrinsic, which is not really that honest, but maybe it's just because it changed a little bit this year as I talk to people. But that's definitely something very interesting, but I am not sure it can be replicated outside of Burning Man, because behind every giving there actually is a lot of money, right? So that's just something I'm kind of thinking about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's an experiment. It's not really replicable in the real world. Although, maybe one day. I mean, it's kind of a cultural thing, right? If you had a culture of giving and you maintain that, then it could probably work. I mean, what were humans doing before there was barter or before there was, you know, money at all? What, I don't know. Like probably something similar, right? Where they just share with each other. I like to see the Burning Man culture as kind of like the family culture, where because this is the economics of a family. You know, you give someone, you kind of give someone money, or you give someone apples, or you give someone a shoulder rub, but you don't have an expectation of return. So it's more like smaller. It is an economy that exists within smaller groups of people. Scaling it up to 70,000 people is something only Burning Man has accomplished, but it'd be interesting to see.
You can also look at open source community, because it's a different form of giving, right? But it's like people provide code or whatever, and they don't have exact expectation of return. But then if some people start working on the project, like it kind of survives, and we've seen that survive for a long time, right? And that's another example of a giving economy outside of the burn.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of parallels between Burning Man and open source community, which is why Decentral exists. Hey,
so I have a question to you guys. Oh, unless you have a question to someone else, but I'm curious about the whole camp, because I was camping right next door to you, so I didn't visit Decentral that much. But like, how was the camp experience? How was Decentral running? And like, yeah, like, can you say a few things about that?
I thought it worked great. I thought Decentral ran really well. I mean, we doubled in size, and we were a little disorganized. The main leader guy broke his leg and was busy and didn't do as much work as he should have. That Santa dude, I don't know about him. But other than that, like I mean, it's really easy with the crypto crew because everyone's like an engineer, and whenever there's a problem that happens, there's like 4 people that jump up that want to solve it. So it makes things really easy. But I thought the camp worked really well. We didn't have any interpersonal conflicts that I heard about between camp members. We pulled off 80 hours, or I think it ended up being like 95 hours of talks about decentralization. And they were, you know, we had so many good roundtable discussions, and hopefully all the recordings will end up as a podcast too. We ended up grabbing all the audio, and I didn't hear about any problems so far. I think all the audio files were collected appropriately. Some of the video that we recorded will be we'll see how it goes out, but I thought it went really well. What about, how did you guys experience Decentral?
I think actually like audio should have some problems because there were like power failures sometimes, so not everything is.
No, but we had that all battery backup.
Oh, cool! Didn't know that. That worked out well. Yeah, I had like very good experience with Decentral. Like I've made several people from other camps. I think our camp is just the best. Like everything is organized so sweet. The Santa guy did a lot of work in there. Appreciate it. Very grateful. Yeah. And we had a steam bath. And also a lot of praise to Sasha, who's just like, you want a fire? Here you go. Take your fire. Something like this. Yeah, totally like it.
And you also had Wi-Fi, which was quite amazing on the playa. Like you managed to get Wi-Fi going on, and I didn't use it that often, but it was crazy that you managed to. Like the guys in Central Camp had a fake Wi-Fi where you had to fill in like 10 pages of forms and write an essay, and after writing all of that, they told you, "Oh, it's not working," but you had the real one.
Next year we'll have way better Wi-Fi. I think we're gonna do like a antenna to Gerlach and just have a directional antenna that will grab from a secure point. And then, because we had internet every day in the morning, but then it kind of, the LTE network kind of shrank as more people joined and we became out of range. We're not gonna let that happen. We want Wi-Fi internet the whole time for sure next year.
But you should have some kind of trolling going on. You know, like when someone tries to check the prices, for example, like you show like some absurd crashed prices or something else. Like, you know, inject some of the Burning Man trolling spirit there. So like, don't make it a regular Wi-Fi. Just make some kind of a joke there.
The fake coin market cap, especially for Burning Man network.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my God, that'd be so bad. People would be like, I gotta go home. Oh my God.
I can't connect to Coinbase.
You might trigger a flash crash.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, oh my God, sell.
Yeah, so you then man in the middle of all the exchanges. So when people are trying to sell, they buy and whatnot, and just no, that you cannot do. But the fake prices, that's doable. I'm telling you.
That's horrible. Well, Florko, what was your favorite part of the burn?
Yeah, meeting people. I mean, I was totally, of course, the first days, especially, I was totally overstimulated and overimpressed with all the lights and artworks and everything. It was my first burn, so I've never experienced anything like it. And I totally have such good memories at the Tesla coils. I love that. And it's a powerful instrument. So I love that, yeah. But to me, like the people in meeting all the people in the camp and at Burning Man and talking to them, and it's such a diversity of human beings. It's just amazing. That's the true, that's the main attraction, right? The people, in the end, I think. Yeah.
The people on the playa are just like amazing humans, especially during build week. The people that go out there to build. I mean, I wish I had more time to just go explore during build week and meet all the guys that are coming on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. I mean, the people who get out there, they're superstars, they're powerhouses. Yeah, there needs to be more events during build week, but unfortunately we're all busy building.
Yeah, and I was very inspired to like, I mean, I would love to build something next year, like an art installation or, you know, something inspired by crypto privacy, something like that. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna try to gather some people to do that with.
Yeah, there were some cool talks about ideas like having a screen that would, anytime someone, oh, bye, Polina. Having a screen that anytime someone walks by it, it just shows the Wi-Fi routers that they've recently connected to.
Mm-hmm,
right?
Mm-hmm. Stuff like that, right? Yeah. Have some awareness going on.
Yeah, exactly. Awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, but
are you guys?
it's funny, Wojtek, if you talk about the economics, I want to, I mean, that's, yeah, that's like totally what we are, I mean, what we are trying to create in the project I'm doing. I'm not branding it because I like the Burning Man atmosphere of not talking about brands and tokens and all that stuff. But I mean, that's what you feel there, right? Indeed, there's like, you're of course absolutely right that it's backed by real money in the real world, but the idea and the practice of feeling what a sharing economy could be like a family economy could be like, you know, if you can trust all these people like you can trust your own family, then you will not ask for shit, right? You will not trade, you will do this kind of economy. Question is, can you call it an economy still? That's so, but yeah, that's really like literally what I at least am trying to achieve, that kind of economy, or that kind of getting rid of the idea of trading and economy, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I know, and I love you for that.
Oh, I have to go because CTH Berlin right now starts. So so it was. I love talking to you and of the conversation, and see you guys later. Cheers.
Cheers. I do have one more thing, Griff, because you were saying something about the camp organization. So I do agree with everyone that it was very well organized. It was all very, very prepared. The only thing I saw, and this is, I hope, valuable feedback, especially in the teardown week, was that we're camp decentral, but we're very centralized around you. And it didn't really matter whether you were able to do things or not. I'm pretty sure that if your leg was not broken, it would probably be even worse. But I think we need someone who would also decentralize the organizational part. Where do you store things? Where do you put that? Where do you do this? And you know, that kind of stuff. That to me is a very central element right now.
Yeah, for sure. And a little bit more documentation would have helped too. Just for like the plans, like, oh, okay, you do, you know, this is the order of takedown. I said it to people, but you know, it's always hard to communicate things by words. If everyone had this printout, or you know, that's like, this is the to-do list or how it's going to go, or if we had different leaders of different projects that were more informed, I think it would have worked out really well, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I know that you've been trying to do to kind of put out different leaders leading each of those teardowns, like you're tearing down the chill dome and stuff like that. But more often, the leaders themselves didn't actually have that knowledge, what needs to happen and when.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and this is the tough thing. Our camp was 70% virgins, right? Like, it's the second year this camp has been there, and most of the structures, this is the first year they were being built, and so there really wasn't enough people that have a full understanding of how everything works. But now, on our third year, I feel like we are starting to have like a really good core crew for the camp that can organize things. Like, Camp Contact's amazing because they have, and all those other camps that are around, they all have, you know, people that have been with them for 7, 10 years, and know they were there the first time the structure was built, and they, you know, they have like an idea of what happens or whatever. Also, I think having people that will stay with me from the beginning to the very end and like own certain parts of the projects will be really useful, but for organizing. But in the end, that's not the fun part. Organizing the burn, that's one thing. What about the art? Did you guys have any favorite pieces of art?
Cool. I was totally amazed by there was this sculpture, let's say, of a couple in chrome. I mean, it was like a chrome-like statue, and it was just amazing to see that if you ride your bicycle, right, and you see it already from a distance, and you know all the artworks, you know, the fact that you drive like you drive up to them, that's just amazing because you get to see it from different perspectives. You can drive around it, but I really loved that statue, if you can call it that, the chrome-like couple like hugging in the middle of the desert. I thought it was simple. It was not mechanical. It was not like an installation. It was just a simple statue, and I really liked that in that kind of space, in that kind of environment. Yeah.
What about you, Wojtek? Did you have a couple favorites?
Yeah, one of them was the car tower, which I haven't climbed, but it just felt so powerful. Next one was the virus thing, because it was a combination of mechanical pieces and
the light.
And it just like felt so awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember who told me. They're like, yeah, that HIV looking thing. But I gotta agree. The car tower was, for me, the best. Well, I think they called it a shish kebab, is what it was called. And they had a bunch of cars on a skewer, and it was just like car on top of car on top of car on top of car. And then you could climb the cars, which was super dangerous. A bunch of people got hurt. And but you climb the cars, and then you get to the top, and you're at a bar. So you climb up these things, you go to the top, drink a bunch of free alcohol, and then you have to climb down. It's like, let's do shots before we descend upon the most dangerous art piece on the playa. Like, I don't know who thought that was a great idea. Oh, I do know. It was the DPW, the actual people who do a lot of the core infrastructure for the entire Burning Man. That was their art. And I thought it was kind of a throwback to the art back in the day, which was way more dangerous, way more climbing friendly, and well, or whatever, and more interactive. And most of it seems like the art has gone more like just beautiful giant pieces of things that don't have as much interaction as they used to. But I mean, maybe that's just a trend coming in and out. But clearly, DPW, those are old time burners, So. Yeah. Well, cool, guys. I guess we can call it. It was a fun chat. Do you guys have any final thoughts on? All right, first, are you guys coming back to the Burn next year?
Yeah, but I will come back and do something, because I felt way too much as like a tourist, and I'm not the best builder. I think. I mean, it's not. I'm not really good at it, but I really want to participate or like contribute in a way, like with art or with like I don't know, but. I definitely will come back and contribute more. Yeah.
You have an amazing talent in design, and we need more. We always need help on beautification. So that's for sure. We have a bunch of engineers that just build stuff, but then it looks like ugly. That finishing touch.
We'll happily do that.
What about you, Wojtek? You coming back next year?
I'm not sure if I'll come back next year, but I think I'll come back. Let's just say that. Next year is kind of far away. And it also feels like I kind of want to space it out a little bit and see how it changed. But yeah, no real decision there. Might be next year.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for helping out so much, V, like especially during closeout, because you left on Tuesday. We didn't end up getting out of there until Wednesday at 4. And man, those last couple days were grueling. Oh, we're like digging. We had a gray water spill in the kitchen, and so we just had to dig and dig and dig. Oh my god. But yeah, guys, it was so much fun talking to the Burn. Thanks for joining the call. And we do this call every 2 weeks. Usually, we only talk about open source block explorers, but might as well mix it up. So, well, thanks a lot, guys. And Wojtek, stay on the call and we can chat after. See you guys.
See you soon, guys.
Perfect. See ya.